Hello, hello, hello.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Padre's Ponderings.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you all for being with us this afternoon. Beautiful day in the low country.
It is.
I'm noticing this vest you got on here. It looks like one of those things that...
Out of Africa safari.
Yeah, it does. Like, like the people that wear when they go quail hunting and stuff like that. It has pockets and stuff all over, drop stuff in there.
It is not what I'm using it for, but...
Like Out of Africa? Did you see that movie?
I never did. It came out when I was a little bit younger, when it was popular. And didn't it last like 4 hours or something? Wasn't it one of those epic?
It's a long movie, yeah.
So I think it was...
Your mom, I forget who was in it, but your mama thought Robert Redford was beautiful.
It was Robert Redford and Meryl Streep, I believe.
Really?
I think so.
In church, Cross Point, this past Sunday after the service, I was talking to a lady, and she wanted to see the chapel, so we walked over here. Speaking of movies,
okay.
She was from New Bedford, Massachusetts. And I said, that's the big whaling town, isn't it? And she said, oh, yes, yes. And I said, isn't that where they filmed Moby Dick with Gregory Peck?
Oh,
she said,
gosh.
I saw them filming that in our town.
She must have been a child.
Yeah, she was a child. She's not a child now. But yeah, she saw them there because a lot of it was filmed in the old places around there, the inn and Ahab, he's Ahab. Yeah.
That's one of your favorites.
It is. That's a great movie.
That's a great book.
Great movie, yeah. Yeah, very special. Orson Welles up in that ship's prow preaching, had that rope ladder to climb up in there. So you don't make movies like that anymore,
No, now it's all computer generated and, yeah. Interesting was
First time I thought about computer generated, I was listening to Kevin Costner. They were interviewing him about movies that he liked, and The Field of Dreams was one of them. And they were talking about different scenes in there. And the end where all the lights of the cars are all lights of the people. He said, all that was computer generated. And I was so disappointed.
I
thought it was real cars.
Thanks for sharing.
No, it was all computer generated. You don't know what you're looking at
and
anymore.
that was a while ago.
That was a long time ago.
So that would have been...
Yeah, he was much younger then.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's all computer generated. So you don't know what you're looking at anymore.
So did the lady, she was visiting or
This is her third time. She's moved here. It's her third time, and she was here with 3 of her buddies from Sun City. And they think that's going to be their church over there. But her background is in the Catholic Church. And she said, I don't know if I want to go to Easter over there. I think I want more traditional things. So I said, well, let's go over and take a look at the chapel. So she walked in, saw the stage of the cross, the holy water stoops. Oh, yeah, I'll be here for this Easter. Her thing. But otherwise, she'll be over there with her buddies. So that's great.
Well, when you meet with people, when they join the church, and that's how you join the church, is have a meeting with Padre. What's the most common question you think you get? I mean, we've got people coming from all over the place. It's fascinating, but what do you think the most common question is? Do they ask questions? I would think it's a great opportunity to ask questions.
Oh, yeah. They ask questions, and most of the questions just flow from discussion. How'd you get here? Where'd you come from? That kind of thing. And I think invariably what they ask is why is this church different? So the idea is they come in and they have an expectation of what they're going to walk into. Because most of the people who come, 75-80% of them have been in church somewhere else in another part of the country. Now, they might have been away from it for a long time, but they have a sense of this is what church is like. And they come in with this, here's what I'm walking into, and it's not what they thought it was. So the question is, why is the church different? And so, I mean, there's a lot of answers to that, but one of them is that, just what you alluded to, they come from all over the country, all over the world, and they've had all different kind of experiences. But one of the things that they all have in common is that they lived somewhere else for a period of time, a lot of times a long time. And then they made this decision, like the pioneers did in the Old West. I'm going to take up all this stuff, all is not important to me. I'm going to downsize. I'm going to take what's important, and it'll fit in the back of a wagon. And I'm going to a place I've never been. I don't know what the journey is going to be like. I don't know what it's going to be like when I get there. I'm going to see all new people. I'm going to get new doctors and lawyers and dentists, and all life is going to start over again. See? That's a gutsy decision.
It's almost like a reinvention.
I mean, that's what those pioneers did. I mean, they really turned. They weren't ever going back.
No, if they even made it to where they were going.
If they made it with, but so that you're starting on a journey that has more question marks than anything. See, and so what that you got to have a lot of self-confidence. You have to have an adventuresome spirit. You got to have a willingness to engage. People like that tend to be extroverted more than introverted, and so they're open to starting over in new relationships. So how that translates into the church is they're looking for a new experience. They're looking for new friends, and so they tend to be welcoming. And I think one of the big surprises, if they come into the historic campus, it's an old building, and many of them have been in congregations that are in old buildings, and they tend to be old people, and they've been together for so long, it's a clique, you just can't break into it, you know. Whereas on the historic campus, it's an old building, but 99.9% of the people that go there were not there 25 years ago. We don't have those middle generations. You don't have a cemetery outside where you've got mama and grandmama and great-grandmama and all the rest of them are out there. You don't have any of that. So what catches them is what makes it different is the people are open to receiving new people in. And one of the things that they also leave behind is whatever denominational affiliation they had. They come and they want to feel something. They don't know what they want to feel, but they want to feel something. And they're looking for a start over, just like what you said. They looking for a start over. And probably the least asked question I get is, what denomination is this?
That's interesting, isn't it?
Probably the least asked question, because it's, when they was raised in the Methodist church, I was raised in the Baptist church. Well, why were you raised there? Because that's where Mama said I had to go. It was I had to, but now it's a want to. And they're old enough, mature enough to realize denominations don't mean anything. They don't care about all that. Are they hearing something? Are they feeling something? Are they better for having been in worship? Is there something they can carry with them that'll make the next week and days ahead better? Those kinds of things. So, lots of folks hang their hat on that denominational identity, and that's long ago and far away. In this situation, now maybe in some other places, denomination's important, but it's not here. Not here. And increasingly, what their history was, who they were in their previous life, they discount that. When we first came here in '96, most people who moved here had a home somewhere else, and they kept it. And they'd be here part-time and up there part-time or something, But over time, they would gradually get rid of it. People coming now, they sold it before they came. They through with this, moving on. So that makes them more receptive to dig in quick, see?
Right.
Because they don't have a foot in both worlds there.
And it's amazing the people that start volunteering at God's Goods and Food Bank and have no affiliation with the church. But then they will start coming to the church.
That's right. That becomes a doorway because they meet and make relationships, and that's what I think that's what people, when they move to this area, they want. They're looking for. They gotta connect up with somebody because they left all their connections wherever, up in New Bedford. So people in New Bedford had to make some reconnections too because there's no more whaling up there. Gone. But that's another story. That's a long answer to a little question there.
But no, that was a good answer to the question because we have so many different people coming in because of our location. It's unique, and you have the opportunity to sit down and talk with so many people of different ages and everything.
And it
everything.
averages out about 3 families a week, something like that. Some weeks are 5 and 2 and that kind of stuff, but it averages out year after year about 3 families a week. So they're coming from all over, just all over. And like the lady that was there, she and her buddies were raised in the Catholic Church up north, then dropped out of church, that kind of stuff. Went to the Cross Point service, fell in love with that, and they weren't raised anything like that. Nothing like that. But I don't know what that's about, but it really, and that's why that's such a fast-growing service. And this is too. Cross Point and the chapel service are the fastest-growing services that we have.
I think a lot of that has to do with location too, because as more things are moving out of Bluffton proper, or whatever you want to call it,
But the population center is definitely moving west.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely moving west. Mm-hmm. And so this is easy to get to because of the locations and all that. You got parking and the highway system and all that. So that's great.
If you come to services, we have a slide up on what we call the loop before service, and it says if you're in need of a Bible. So each campus has Bibles that we just give to people if they need a Bible. And I had a lady come up and she said, I would like for my friend who's visiting with me, she does not have a Bible. She only has like her family Bible, the really big ones. It was a wedding gift and it has all the family members.
Oh.
And so she was carrying that Bible to Bible study. And so her friend said, can she have one? And she wanted to pay for it. I said, no. No, we give away God's Word.
That's right.
Yeah. But just little things like that that people
and
appreciate.
There would be a lot of folks that would think anybody over 50 would surely have a Bible. But that is not the case. That's why when I visit with people, I give them a men's Bible, devotional Bible, and women's study. They get a women's study Bible, and they're very appreciative for it. Very seldom do they say, "Oh, I've got Bibles and I've got mine that I read all the time." Very seldom do you hear that. Very seldom.
I love that extra touch.
Yeah.
Because that's what it's about.
And
it's God's
that's
Word.
And you're meeting with people for the first time, and so that makes a real statement. This is important to us. Mm-hmm. This is important to us. This is not a doorstop or a coffee table book. This is important here. So what else you got going on? You mentioned food bank. You got anything?
Food bank, still rolling. He sent out I haven't read the email that came out when I was in a meeting, but
I made a mistake last week. I said the food bank was about 180. It's averaging 280. 280. That's a lot of people. That's a lot of people. That's a lot of food.
We printed Easter cards for the food bank. They're going to be given away with the bags of food that they give the week, I think it's the week before Easter, and they're doing an Easter breakfast meal. Around the holidays, we tend to give something a little extra special. So it'll be an Easter breakfast with ham and pancakes and syrup and all of that. they're also putting a flyer, so the Easter card in the bags and the flyer about all of our different care ministries and the counseling center and all of that. To go out to the community.
When you said syrup a minute ago, it seemed like you had about three
Syrup.
syllables in that.
Syrup.
That's a little syrup.
Syrup.
That's one of those, your mama does that wordle thing every
I
morning.
rocked it today. I got into.
She was 3. But that's a 5-letter word, syrup. So
Oh, I don't know if we've had that one yet.
she's watching for these 5-letter words.
That would be a
come
good
up.
one, yeah.
Syrup would be a good
Syrup
one.
would be a good one.
That'd be a hard one to catch.
So, the Cross Counseling Center in the e-news last week, we shared the link for the website is live. I've already gotten lots of feedback from that.
Is that website hooked to the parish website and vice versa? Mm-hmm. Is it linked into the school website and
yes,
all that so that
all
people
places.
can get to them pretty quick?
Mm-hmm. So on the church website, it is under ministries. It's one of the tabs for ministries. So we've got Serve, Connect, Care, Cross Christian Counseling, and then all the rest of them are on the side. Because we have a lot of ministries here. We keep adding. We keep adding. And the link goes directly to the Cross Counseling Center. Cross Schools has it, I believe, on their header. And under the Cross Christian Counseling, I believe it's under Resources tab. And it's a direct link to our website.
I was on the historic campus about 9 o'clock this morning, and Andy's pickup truck was over there, and there were 3 other cars over there, so I figured something was going on in there. The day was off and running for them. Great. Andy men were showing up to start doing something over there. Jay shook.
They are still working on dry rot on the windows. It's a nature of it's where we live. There is a lot of humidity. There's a lot of moisture, and it loves wood.
Mm-hmm. And that's the parish hall was built in the
70s?
50s. No, the parish hall was built in the 50s.
Oh.
The original parish hall, and that's the heart of it. And then the back part was added on in the 90s.
So that back hallway where
that was all added.
Sunday school and all of that.
Mm-hmm. And the second floor was not completed. They had just finished the bottom floor when I came in '96, and then one of the first things they did was do the top floor up there. But before that, it was just the one big room.
Oh.
The kitchen was all added on, the altar guild room, flower, all that stuff.
Oh, it was just literally the big meeting room.
Just the big room. And there was a wall in the back of that, and that's where so the big meeting room had a wall along the back, and that's where the kitchen was, that's where bathrooms were, and a storage place was.
Didn't realize that.
You didn't even have the front entryway on.
Right.
None of that, just it was a box.
So what's the big project besides just the regular repairs and things we're working on? You said we have to bring some stairs up to code.
The entrance stairs.
Into the historic church.
Into the historic church from the outside where you walk up the sidewalk. That whole entryway there is being reworked.
And it's because it's not up to code?
It's not up to code, and now that ownership has been established, we can move ahead with that. And so we just signed a contract with the architects for redesigning that so that it's safer, and that's what the codes are about, are being safer.
But also has to be in keeping with historical property.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
And that was one of the things historic science, that you got to use the same bricks and things there, so can't throw away that kind of stuff. And the riverside entrance that goes right up to the columbarium, that's being done too. And they're going to do these. There's a little bit of work has to be done on the threshold under the bell tower. Right now, there's a built-up threshold there, so and that's where the handicapped people come in. So it's a real problem if you've got wheelchairs and walkers and stuff. So they're going to work that out flat, so it's more accessible for folks to come in. And so that'll be working on that pretty quick. And we've got a lot of work to do on the windows, same kind of stuff in the parish hall. A lot of work to do on the big windows in there. Want to change the cushions on the pews in there, so that they're hooked into the pews and they're thicker and more comfortable, and the covering on them is more durable. Similar to these. It'll be more of that
burgundy.
Yeah, burgundy that fits in with the color scheme over there. But that idea, that's in the wings too. So you got to keep it going.
Historical properties it's a constant.
And then you just did the thing about adding more cameras over there on the outside for safety and more lighting on the riverside, that whole area down from the back of the church all the way down up toward Calhoun Street. We don't have enough light out there. We don't have camera coverage, and we're living in a different time, so we're having to get all that going too. So you just keep picking at it. As that's an old building, and old buildings are like old people. You got to keep them up, or it'll go down around you. And the physical part of, you can't do much if you let your body go to rot. And that's the same way with an old building. You got to keep picking at it, and picking at it, and picking at it, and you might think you got it all done, and then next week something else shows up. It's just like you have an ache in your pain, you would do something with that, and, where did this one come from? You start putting the salve on this one over here. Or, what is it, aspartame? No, I don't know what it. Anyway, what is it? The different kind of bombs that you have, that kind of stuff. So I don't have any need for that right now.
Well, that's good.
Who knows what's coming next week?
Yeah. But we're super appreciative for Roger Abney and all of his work, and Charlie redid all the audio-visual equipment over there, which is a tremendous help.
Yep. And we're using it more. We're using those facilities more and more and more. And it, just like the counseling center, that's going to bring more of the pastoral care ministries onto that campus. And the more you use something, the more you got to invest in it. So, and that's happening. That's happening. Good to keep something in front of you. Just like you got something in front of you all the time, don't you?
All the time.
All the time.
All the time.
All the time. Praise God. All right, so what's up today? What we got to speak about? Jonathan
Has his third teaching tomorrow night right here in the chapel at 7 p.m. on parables. After Easter, you will be doing the miracles, and that's going to be on the historic campus. So sign-ups for dinner and everything are on the website. We'll be putting that in the e-news
It's
probably
the second
week
week
of
after Easter, so
or right after Easter.
I'm skipping that first week after Easter, so
We might
people
need a
can
break.
recover from Holy Week and all the rest of it, and then we'll crank it up.
Because when you add up, it's like, what, 13 or 14 services in a week?
Every bit of that.
So the church will be closed. The church parish offices will be closed the Monday after Easter.
Close it, and we close at noon on Friday.
And we close at noon on Good Friday.
Yeah. Yeah, so Monday will catch your breath day. Yeah.
Everybody gets a little bit of a break. But I think we've got everything rolling for Easter, and chairs rented, and all the candles
Security
ready,
people.
and safety, and Bluffton police officers, and so everything's kind of falling into place.
So a lot of moving parts for a big
It
week.
is. It really is. A lot of hands on deck. So
A lot of volunteers needed, and the different service formats are all real special too. So, and we pray for good weather. I think that Monday service on the bluff is real special because it's out there, and normally that around Easter time is you wear sweaters out there on the
it's a little
bluff.
chilly, yeah. So a day like today, where there's a breeze and it's a little chilly. But with the breeze comes
Amen.
no no-see-ups. So
Amen.
we are thankful for that.
Amen. I was listening to something on PBS this morning, and it was this archaeologist, geologist person, and where she is now is down in Egypt, and she's working with around the old tombs and stuff. And so the man was asking, "Is that difficult work?" And there's a whole team. She's got her whole team down there. So she's from
England?
Durham, in Durham College in England. And she said, well, one of the biggest difficulties you have is the challenge that there's over 3,000 visitors a day to that Valley of the Kings where those pyramids are, where they work. 3,000 a day. I would never have thought that, because that's not in the city now. That's out in the burbs. In fact, the burbs it's further out than the burbs.
Right, it's beyond the beyond.
It is. But she was saying that he asked her where she'd done a doctoral dissertation, and it was in northern England, and that it was out in just really a wild place, and she was examining coal samples and all the rare minerals that are in the coal samples is how you date when all the stuff is going on. And the challenge, she said, was it was always raining. She was in the cities, it was always raining, and mosquitoes, and she used a name, it was for no-see-ums, but whatever that thing was. But she said that was the challenge, but the rain,
And
mosquitoes, and the bugs, the little fighting ones. So, but learning lots of stuff. So, but would you have thought there'd be 3,000 visitors a
That's
day
a lot.
to those pyramids?
Yeah, that's a lot.
You multiply that times 300, that's a lot of visitors in a year. Whoa.
And they're uncovering new things all the
All the
time.
time.
So
All
it's
the time.
fascinating. Same thing
I
in
saw
Israel.
some of the news where they think there's another tomb in the big tomb. Infrared, something that they do and stuff.
Oh.
And they think there's another one, and it's down lower than the ground level.
That's amazing stuff when you start looking at those structures. It's
how
amazing.
they built that thing. Now
Amazing.
they didn't have all the scientific equipment and machines and stuff like that. Whoa.
Yeah.
And they move in big blocks. You know, when we're in Israel down there in the tunnel under the Dome of the Rock, that runs parallel to it. It's not under it. It runs down the side of it. You saw those huge blocks in there that are the size of the ones in
Tons.
Egypt. Those are monstrous, just monstrous. But that's another story. So what else you got on your mind today?
I need
You
to.
hadn't said 2 words. What you got going on?
Well, you've been verbose.
Well, I mean,
Which
you
is
ask
good
any
too.
questions.
I did.
You
I
ask
asked
any
you a question
questions,
and you
so-
answered.
I mean,
That's a good thing because
try to do
this
my
is
part.
called Padre's Ponderings, so
But
it's not my ponderings.
I ponder all around. So
Yep, going to work on the e-news for this week and need to go meet with a few people. So
yeah, I got some meetings too. All right, anything else I can do for you?
just keep taking your
Pretty
veggies
snazzy
and
there.
your vites and keep it on.
Wear the sweaters that your mama approves of.
The turquoise at Cross Point was very pretty on screen against the purple background. It really was. That was a pretty sweater. So you
I would not
probably have
think
a couple
turquoise
more
and-
weeks.
I would not think turquoise and purple would go together.
It did. So you've got a very springy. So you've got probably 3 more weeks of sweaters, 4,
Usually,
and you'll have to move to the
usually
short sleeves.
about after Easter. Things go downhill.
Right.
That hopefully it's a little
So-
cool spell at Easter time with no rain, and then normally after that, April 15th,
Starts
20th
heating
in
up.
there, the temperature starts going up.
Yeah.
So I have to, sweaters go.
So your color can last for a couple more weeks before we go to just black. All right. Well, don't forget the food bank. Bring in food to the services.
When was it? Not this past Sunday, but a couple of Sundays before that when I was over there, And I had this light green sweater, and I went from here. I put it on after the service here to go over there. Took my vest off, walk over there. By the time I got across that parking lot, I was burning up. I mean,
You took it off on stage.
I got up on that stage, and it was just too hot to do sermon and all that. I took that off.
It's like, I don't know where this is going.
Took off my collar and all that. Got an email.
That's right. You unhung the collar and threw it on the ground.
I was stripped off coming up the steps and all that. It just was too hot. I rolled my sleeves up. And I got an email the next day from one of the members, and he said, I looked over the stage, all this black, and I just knew any minute you were bringing a guitar out and you were going to start singing.
Johnny Cash.
Oh, my goodness.
No.
No. That's another story, too. Anyway.
All right. Go in peace to love and serve the Lord.
Thanks
be to God.
Blessings to you. Don't forget the food bank.